today's episode, we are discussing special needs autism. If you have been with us through the different episodes, you may remember we already discussed special needs cerebral palsy. Autistic children remain in our society, and we remain having the responsibility to embrace them and love on them and live with them. On set, I am joined by amazing people who have been gifted with having close relatives dealing with autism. Allow me to welcome my guests. I will start with you, Anne. Anne, introduce yourself.
My name is Anne Maina. I am married and a mother of 4.
Ish, mother of 4.
Yes.
Looking very lovely.
Thank you.
Welcome to our show, Terry.
Thank you once again for having me on the show. My name is Terry Mbari, a mother of 1. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So I think the common factor for the both of you on set is the fact that you both have very close people in your lives who are dealing and living with autism. So maybe, Anne, you can tell me who in your family is going through autism, and when you discovered this, in a brief, like a minute.
You did well to tell me in a minute, because I can go on and on. Anyway, is my son, Manuel, my firstborn son. He's now 9 years old, a very lovely boy.
Yes.
And I discovered he had an issue early in life, but the actual medical diagnosis came at 3 years.
Okay.
Yes.
3 years.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, we'll stick at that, because I know we'll hear the whole story after the short break.
Yes.
Terry, I know your brother. Tell us about that.
Well, I have a twin brother who was diagnosed with a condition in the autism spectrum called Asperger's syndrome. This was discovered quite late, I think, when he was in primary school.
Around how old was he? Primary school is vast.
It was around 9 years, because this is a condition that often goes undiagnosed.
Yes.
So it was not detected early.
Yes.
And he wasn't displaying autistic characteristics.
Okay.
He was displaying, you can say, people with Asperger's syndrome are often described as geniuses in their own world.
Yes. Your brother is how old now, Terry?
He's now 28 years old. Finished university. With his condition, we don't really call it a disability, but it's an added ability. He was able to graduate from university last year, but that was 2016.
Nice.
November, which was it was no mean feat.
Oh.
And up to this day, I really thank God for that far that he got. And he's right now looking for a job. Yes.
Okay, he will get a job. And I love that we have Anne here, who has a young boy, and therefore I know you're feeling encouraged.
Yes, of course.
Share with us your journey.
My journey has not been easy. It's better now, but earlier on in life, it has not always been that way. My son was, as I said earlier, I always knew my son had an issue. I couldn't tell what.
Okay.
But my motherly instincts were telling me, babies are not supposed to be like this.
All right.
He used to cry a lot.
Yes.
A lot more than usual babies. And at first, when I asked around, my baby's crying a lot, and I was told it's colic, and we got over the colic period. He's still crying.
This is your firstborn?
This is my firstborn.
Okay.
So I really don't have much experience about babies.
Yes.
But I notice even when we go to church, he cries throughout the sermon.
Wow. That's
it
like
became
30
unbearable.
minutes.
Yes, it became unbearable to be in the service with him.
Yes.
So I knew there was a problem. But when I would ask the medics, when I go for the clinic, they'd tell me it's normal.
Yes.
But then at 1 year, my son was standing up and holding furniture around.
Yes.
And at that point, you can't wait for your baby to walk.
Yes.
Unfortunately, instead of walking, he started crawling.
Okay.
So it's like he slid back.
Yes.
And you're hoping this is just going to be 1 week, 2 weeks. But from 1 year, he walked at 2 years, 3 months.
Wow.
Between that period, we visited doctors.
Yes.
I mean, we went to hospitals,
Yes.
pediatricians.
Yes.
Tests were done.
Yes.
And they all said, your son is okay.
Uh-huh.
We don't see why you're worried.
Yes.
I mean, just wait. He'll walk at some point. He walked at 2 years, 3 months.
Yes.
And after that is when it hit me. My son is not talking. He's not even saying mama, not baba. He doesn't even seem to recognize his name. So again, we start this rush to hospitals. And one time, my nephew had come visiting with my mom. He had the condition where we needed to see a neurologist.
Okay.
And on our visit, I mentioned about my son who is not yet speaking.
Yes.
And is now about 2 months, 8 months, 2 years, 8 months. Then the neurologist told us to book him in for an appointment.
Yes.
So we booked him in.
Yes.
And when we went, that's when the doctor said, your son seems to exhibit characteristics of autism.
Okay.
And so I was excited actually, because finally the doctor knows what the problem is.
I know, yeah, it's been too long.
And being in a hospital,
Yes.
I imagined the doctor will write me a prescription.
Oh yeah, solution.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited. I'm like, okay, so you'll give me the prescription. I'll just get the medicine from the pharmacy.
Yes.
And the doctor tells me, no, there is no medicine for this. It's a lifelong condition.
Wow.
You will just have to know how to manage it.
Wow.
For now, for your son.
Wow.
And when he grows up, he'll probably know how to manage it himself.
Wow.
That was, I think, one of the most heartbreaking points of my life.
Yes.
It's a firstborn.
Yes.
And you're being told he has a lifelong condition.
Yes.
That he has to live with. That you have no idea about. So I sat there and I told the doctor, okay, tell me all about this condition. I want to be equipped.
Yes.
And he told me, you know what? Go Google. Go home. Google. This is my card. Whenever you have a question, call me. Because there's just too much that I could tell you.
Oh.
And as she said, it's a spectrum.
Yes.
No two people with autism are the same.
Oh really?
Yes. It's not like the way you have a cold and you're coughing.
Yes.
And so all of us can get a cough syrup.
Oh yeah.
The therapies for the children or for people with autism are different.
Yes.
As you had, her brother has Asperger's syndrome. My son is on a mild, on the mild side of autism,
Yes.
but not Asperger's. I was just speaking to her earlier before we came on set, and she was telling me the brother talks a lot. I mean, talks. My son on the other side,
Yes.
for him to say a word, you need to literally get it out of him.
What?
He will know he needs a cup, and he
Yeah.
will pull you, bring you to where the cup is, and he will refuse to say cup. So he has a challenge in speech.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
He's now 9 years old. He communicates in 1 word or 2 word sentences.
Yes.
Yes. Speech to him, it's not his thing.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
He
Okay.
will communicate in other ways, but not speech.
Tell me about the integration of your child.
Yes.
Now, especially now when you discovered that this is what this is.
Yes.
And your child has to hang out with other children
Yes.
of the same age group.
Yes.
How was that? How was that working out?
It was very difficult. It's very difficult. Autistic children have tendencies of withdrawal.
Okay.
They love being by themselves.
Yes.
And therefore, like, would have a birthday party. The birthday is actually his birthday. And he will literally refuse even to cut the cake. He doesn't want to be around people.
Wow.
And as I mentioned earlier, like the way he would cry a lot.
Yes.
Later on in life, we came to know he also had something else other than autism. He had something called sensory integration disorder.
Okay.
He's hypersensitive generally.
Yes.
So in crowded places, he will close his ears.
He feels like the noise is
It's
too
too
much.
much.
Yes.
Yes. So that means even in playgrounds,
Yes.
he will not want to be with other children. They are making way too much noise for him. And this is not just with the hearing, it goes even for the skin.
Yes.
When I took him for therapy and I explained how he doesn't like even to carry his school bag or doesn't like sitting on a wooden bench, and the therapist told me, your son is too sensitive. When you touch him, he feels as if you're passing steel wool across his skin.
Oh no.
Yes.
Oh no.
So even shaving his hair, brushing his teeth, he's generally sensitive.
All right.
That was helped by when I went for occupational therapy. So it's a bit better now. He can carry his bag, although he still has issues with shaving hair. He can't go to the barber.
Yes.
I do it at home.
Yes.
Brushing his teeth, I still have to monitor because he doesn't like the brush.
Yes.
It's too much for him.
Yes.
Yes. So they are different. Some autistic children have issues with diet. My son doesn't. But some of them, you give them a mandazi.
Yes.
And you will not sit down. They become hyperactive. Some of them, you give them one mandazi and a soda, and you will not sleep because most of them have issues with sleep, insomnia.
Yes.
Literally, one mandazi, one soda, he may not sleep through the night.
Wow.
Literally.
Wow.
Yes. Yes. So it's a range.
Okay.
It's a range.
Okay.
Yes. So for my son, it was very difficult to have him even go for family functions because people don't understand why he's closing his ears. Sometimes when we, even now, when we go to church, he likes to wear hooded jackets so that when the noise is too much for him, he wears his hood and closes his ears. Yes.
So there.
And by noise, I don't mean the noise that you hear. By noise, I mean a zip, somebody closing the zip. I mean your earring dropping on the floor.
It may to them it may sound too loud.
Yes. I mean a car that is a kilometer away hooting or even just passing. Yes. Those I'll give you a small example of my friend whose son is just like my son's age. One time they were doing homework and then the son closes his ears suddenly. And the mother is wondering what's up. There's no noise, nothing. And within less than a minute, the bulb blew. He could hear that from the bulb, the one that you can't hear.
What?
Yes.
Okay, it makes me very curious. It makes me very curious that there could be a lot that the autistic population can do.
Yes.
It's like untapped potential.
Yes. In some countries, I've been reading a lot about autism, and I've heard and read that some countries are getting autistic people to work in the FBI.
Because
in crime scenes,
yes,
they are very keen. They don't leave anything. They are detailed.
Yes.
Detailed.
Yes.
So those professions where you need people to be on detail, they're really good. Yes.
Tell me. Oh, okay. You wanted
Also to add on that.
Yes.
They like routine.
All right.
And they're very organized. For example, my brother, he would wake up at a certain time. If it's 5 a.m., he will wake up at 5 a.m. Not 5:10, not 4:50. He'll wake up at 5 a.m. He will do the same exact thing every day. If you try to change it, there will be a lot of resistance. And he would really not want that. And he's a perfectionist. This is the way he makes his bed. Don't try to make that bed for him, because he will notice that is not perfect. For example, my brother would till to date, he if you ask him who's the MP of I don't know where, he knows all the MPs, all the governors. He would write them down.
Yeah.
And that is and that's, we notice that's a talent.
Yeah.
That is his ability. He can memorize so many things. If you ask him the headline of a newspaper on 20th November 2018, he will tell you.
Most children they have an allergy for sugars, wheat, and some cow milk because of casein.
Yes.
if you notice your child, when they take any of these, are becoming overly hyper. There's the hyper
Yes.
of normal toddlers and normal children, and then there's the hyper of climbing up the windows and breaking everything that is on the table.
Yes.
That is normal. That is not normal hyper.
Yes.
You probably need to go to the doctor.
Destructive behavior.
Destructive behavior.
Yeah.
Very destructive. There is destructive for the normal naughtiness of children.
Yes.
Then there is destructive behavior. Let me first demystify this.
Yes.
When they are doing that, they are not naughty.
Yes.
It is something in their brain called information overload. They're having too much. They don't know what to do. Have you ever seen somebody who is too angry and they start punching everything?
Yes, yes.
It's almost something like that.
Yes.
They really don't want to do it.
Yes.
It's just because their brain can't handle.
Yes.
And so sometimes they are mistaken, just like she said.
Yes.
Because sometimes people just think, you mother, you're not bringing up your
not
child in
doing
the right
well.
values.
Yes.
But that is one of the things to look out for. There are some physical things that you can look out for.
Yes.
Most autism children do not have eye contact. They can't look at you in the eye.
Okay.
They also cannot point, most of them.
Does anyone know the cause?
Actually, not quite. there's all these theories. Sometimes it's mother's nutrition during pregnancy. Sometimes it's, but really the cause is unknown.
Okay.
Sometimes it's it can run in family, like if you have a son, so it can happen to another child. But there's really no concrete cause that has been established so
And
far.
it reminded me of a boss. I had a boss who couldn't concentrate if the chairs that you're sitting on are not at a certain angle. So if he's working and your seat is, he'll just come and just
Twist it,
you know, and then
yes.
he's back to work.
So we have, I think, some forms of that.
Yeah.
Just that now with autistic children, they tend to be very because there are many.
Yes.
Now you actually find that this child, if they're not helped properly at a young age, they might not become functioning adults like her brother, who is able to actually have a life of their own.
Yes.
Some of them have. If you don't, then you might have stay with a child for the rest of their life because they cannot function in the normal society like the way everyone experiences. So early intervention, of course it's a strain to the family, but I love that she's coming up with an initiative that helps. You know.
Actually, she should tell us about
it because these are so important.
It's this M-Life. M-Life is basically maximum life, where we are seeking to help mothers understand their children, just like the questions you're asking now, and teachers who are in regular schools, so that other children don't go what her brother went through. Because before a child goes to a special school, all children are first enrolled in regular schools at a very young age. And so if a child becomes the one who tears other children's books every now and then, you'll be that regular parent in school because your child has done this and the other. So now, to avoid that, we train teachers on how to deal with distraction and how to help this child even play with other kids in the playground. Because it is like literally dragging them to the playground. They don't like crowds. They don't like being with people.